Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Energy Speaks Back, powered by Hark. My name's Paul Webb. I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and I'm also your host. Weekly, I present to you experts from around the world, and today we are in Scotland, taking personal perspectives on COP26. And our purpose, as always, is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver savings that impact on our planet. And before we get into our interview, I would like to recognise our sponsors. They are Clean Energy Revolution for their knowledge and networking in the renewable world, B2B Energy for the 11-week energy program and reducing energy on organisations' third largest expense, Hark Systems, renowned for their energy software, Alexis Energy for their power management, led by Vision, who are a LED and a controls company, Watts for their electronics and their EV transition, Carbon Black Global for their waste to energy initiatives, and lastly, our certificate partners, Ester Energy. Welcome to episode 59 of Energy Speaks Back, powered by Hark. And my special guest today has valuable insights regarding her degree she is studying in Scotland. She has journeyed all the way from India to seek her passion of energy management and her personal ambition to work in the renewable industry. So without any further ado, I give you Shraddha Nair. Good afternoon, Shraddha, and how are you today?
I'm good. It's getting colder here in Glasgow. And feeling fine, I should say. Been busy.
I should really say that you're a Glasgow girl now. How long you been there now?
Couple of months, actually. I think I'm catching on with the Glaswegian accent, though.
I think you sound Glaswegian, even though because you're suffering a little bit with a bit of a flu, aren't you, today?
Yeah, a little bit.
With the cold and the damp.
Yeah, it is cold. Everybody's having the flu these days. Need to get those flu shots.
Right.
Yeah.
So Shraddha, we met probably 6 months ago. I've been doing some mentoring with you. You lead now the Clean Energy Revolution Juniors, which we both set up together. We drove that for about 10 weeks, doing some education and training. And I've really got to know you very well over the last, I would say, 3 months. And I know you moved from India to Glasgow, not for COP, but for your studies, which we're going to hear a lot about there. But for the benefit of our audience today, can you tell us about Shraddha, about her background, where she's come from, and what you're doing today within our industry?
Thank you so much, Paul. So I am an electrical engineer. I did my bachelor's back in India, and I have been working since 2018 in the corporate sector. And I was also associated with a couple of energy industry, big oil companies. And I've done a lot of internships there. And for the past 1 or 2, I should say over 1.5 years, I've been associated with a startup in California. It's called Save and Restore, and I've been working with them as a growth strategist. So basically, helping them grow their business, and it's the company is in the energy sector because they work on EV charging and energy storage and all that. And then I met you, and it's been wonderful because Paul has been mentoring me for, it's been over 6 months, I should say. It was late March to 2021.
Right.
And it's been great. And of course, I was introduced to CER Junior. That was amazing. I got to meet a lot of people from different parts of the world. We have, I think, a mixture of not just people from India and Africa. We also have people from Germany, I think, couple of them. Yeah. And it's fun to see all these young people, coming together for just to learn so much about the energy sector. And I think everybody is learning a lot about energy, not just from our sessions we had like every week sessions for like 10 weeks. And it was great to grow even as a person, because you get to make presentations and then you are presenting about a topic. So that was amazing. And yeah, and then I think by August end, I came here in Glasgow for my master's. I'm doing my master's in energy management, specifically economics and policy of energy and climate change. And I was very, very fortunate to meet a lot of delegates this time, because COP happened in Glasgow, COP 26. That was so amazing. Like, yeah, I even met Barack Obama, but then, of course, we didn't talk. But then I was like, oh yeah, hi. It was great. Yeah, it was great.
So obviously, when you was making the decision about your studies going forward, I think you had a choice between Canada and Scotland. And I remember sort of one afternoon, you just didn't know what to choose, did you, about the two? And I think COP wasn't even on our radar. We didn't, that wasn't part of the decision, was it?
No, it wasn't. That I remember that afternoon. It was so confusing because I had admissions from US colleges in US, from Germany, Canada, and UK. And I was so confused at that time which one to choose, because all of the course structures were so amazing. And of course, we factor in financial as well. But then it
Yeah.
was, for some reason, because my area of interest is towards offshore wind, and to be an environmental economist, like in the future. So I was pretty much leaning towards Scotland, because come on, UK is like the land of offshore wind. So there was a hard decision between Canada and UK. Also, at this moment, I think Canada is not at a very peak for education in terms of in terms of education for energy sector. Particularly, they have some environmental aspects of courses, but then they are not very strong on energy. I wonder why not, but I think UK was a great decision. I'm actually loving the course.
But you're not loving the temperature.
I think I'll get used to it. I'm catching on the Glaswegian accent, so now I'm getting used to the. It's sometimes it's good. Sometimes the weather is beautiful, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's you just don't want to go out or even open the window. It's that bad.
How are you finding the accent? Because even from a Londoner listening, I've got some Glaswegian customers, and I'm the only one in my company that understands them. I can communicate with them very clearly, but they speak far too fast, don't they?
Yeah, they have a very thick accent. I think it's easier to understand general Scottish accent,
Yeah.
but if you come to like hardcore Glaswegian accent, they have a special. It kind of rolls and twists in your mouth. That it's very thick. And earlier on, it was difficult. Like it was like when you're on a phone call, it's worse. Like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
face to face, you can at least try to read the lips, but with the masks on, it's again an issue. So I think during a pandemic, if I came here and I can understand that accent, I'm pretty sure I'll make it through. It's very thick, it's difficult, but yeah. It's a little
So,
different from British though, British English, because I've noticed that British people don't use the word, they don't enunciate R, the word letter R. And here, people do that. Here, they have very much stress on R.
right.
So they will say three instead of three. So, yeah, that's
Dialect's totally
something.
different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Totally different. So let's go back into, you've decided to go into energy management, renewables. What's been the drivers behind that? What's been driving you into that industry?
So I have always been a huge fan. I should not say fan, but like an I can't even say activist, but yeah, maybe a fan of climate change long before it was, now it's a fad. Now everybody wants to go into climate change and
Mm.
sustainability. Some of them don't even understand the meaning, but they just want to go there because it's a fad now. It's a trend. But I was into it long before it became a trend. And I enjoyed learning a little bit more about climate change 10, 15 years ago, when David Attenborough was like, oh no, this is the time we should be very careful because the temperatures are rising and everything. And my father is working in the oil and gas industry. And I've seen the entire inside out of oil and gas industry, and it's a great option because as long as you have oil, you can go ahead and extract it. But it's a depletable resource, so at one point it's going to go down, and then what? We cannot stop businesses. We cannot stop using our water kettle, or lighting our homes. So I think a more sustainable and renewable option would be renewable energy. So that is how my interest actually got sparked into the energy sector, I should say.
And are you seeing impacts of climate change and the environment at home in India?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if climate change it doesn't discriminate between if the country is developed or if it's a developing country, because its impact is like everywhere. And especially within India and the coastal areas, southern part of India, there has been like massive flash floods and hurricanes coming along, and it's every year the sea level is rising so much. But I think people are finding a way of working around it. Like, I think policies should be not just towards mitigating the effects of climate change. They should also teach people how to adapt to the changing climate, because climate is still changing. We also saw earlier this month, I think it was last month, there was a forest fire in Siberia. Siberia is one of the coldest cities of the world, in Russia, and if you see a forest fire there, it's a wildfire there. I mean, if that is not a cue that climate change is really happening, I think people are blind to it then. So we need to move towards, like, my area of focus would be towards getting up offshore wind, especially in countries like UK and along the entire northern area of the European Union. They have so much potential to increase the production of offshore wind, and not just offshore wind. Basically, blue economy is my focus. We have 70% of the earth covered with water. Why are we not using it? You can't use it to drink. I get that. So, and we have only like 3% of freshwater resources, which we use for almost everything, from washing our face in the morning to, cooking food, to produce food. Basically, we're using so much of fresh water, and it's just like 1% of the 3% of fresh water available in the world. So I think if we can turn our focus towards the 70% of the remaining water, even though it is saline water, if we can make use of the oceans as much as we can using tidal energy, wind energy, floating offshore wind. I'm very impressed that I think Siemens Gamesa has bought up an floating offshore wind farm somewhere in the Northern Sea. I think that's impressive. Like, there is so much possible with innovation and technology that we can, go ahead and get the energy from wind.
It's interesting you say about the blue economy. I always say that for me, energy is gas, electric, and water, and I always incorporate all of those utilities because they are key. Water is very important part of a resource that we need to reserve going forwards. And then you're part of the clean energy revolution. We set the Clean Energy Revolution Junior Group up because we wanted to help and develop young generation into it, because there's a lot of appetite for the young generation to get into our industry of renewables. And I'm finding India seems to be a very big driving point for universities and the younger generation. Are you seeing that as well, regarding sort of your country, where you're from, regarding the education?
Yeah. I will not say. I mean, I can't. I don't think I can have the proper right to say, because I left the country for my education to some other country. But then, in general, what they are trying to do is India is still developing. So it was in a phase when oil and gas and coal was a huge deal in the last era, and all the people now have like reached their age of maturity and knowledge gaining, and bring up new innovation technology. But then now we are at a phase where we don't have to go up to the point where we are developed. We can walk around the mountain and go directly to, being completely green. So for that, I think this era of students, young people somewhere between 18 to 32, they're all, they have so much potential because now everybody is moving towards interdisciplinary approach. Like, I'm an electrical engineer. I could have just directly gone to a power plant, started working, and then work my way around it. But then I switched in between economics, and then now I'm into policies. So if I think nowadays all the youth in India are moving towards a very, very diversified background in terms of education. Like, even India is trying to accommodate the need and the demand for, having an interdisciplinary approach to things, because otherwise it's not possible. Somebody who knows mathematics should also know a little bit of how to code things, because when you are trying to design things, you need to know the working knowledge of a particular software. So you cannot just say that, okay, I'm a mathematics student or I'm a science student, so I don't have the necessity to learn about mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. So you need to have a working knowledge of everything, so that you are able to contribute at some point to, what you are trying to innovate. So yeah.
Are you likely to take your skills back into the country once you've studied in the UK? Well, what's your plans for the future?
That's an interesting question, actually. I would still love to, like, I understand that I get the education here, but I would still love to work for a couple of years to get to know, because right now offshore wind is a huge thing in UK, and it's already an established market. So once you get to know the inside out of an established market, you can use those transferable skills and go ahead and work something out for, back at home. So I think if we can work something around that, it's a long shot, but I might just do some kind of startup there back at home. Still working on it, but I need to get some market knowledge right here from on ground where things are happening in offshore. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So for me, the wind generation is quite simple. It's a windmill. It's the rotation of the engine of the generators generate the electricity. And there's lots of talk around the renewable side of that regarding the sustainability and what happens at the end of that life cycle. Have you got
Yeah.
any opinions of that? Have you got any thoughts regarding that?
Absolutely. I think that is going to be one of my projects for my final thesis. Yeah, final project topics. It's like 20, 30 years, every wind turbine has the life cycle, and then it's decommissioned. And we don't have a proper way to, dispose of these wind turbines. For solar panels, you can reuse them to much, not as much as its life cycle is, but then if you disintegrate the solar panels, you can use it to make a small toy which is run on solar, or you can reuse those parts somewhere. And some of it can be recycled as well. Some parts like silicon and all cannot be recycled to an extent. But for wind, it's difficult because wind is like it's just a huge wind turbine. It's a huge blade. You cannot cut it and, use it somewhere else. So I think after decommissioning of the wind turbines, it is very difficult to get to a stage where it is biodegradable, because it is not. But there is a recent study by one of the company called Modernza. I think it's a no, it's a Denmark-based company. Yeah, it's a Denmark-based company, and what they've tried to do is they have tried to make wind turbine made out of wood. It's like kind of like a laminated wood. It has wood material in it, and it takes time, but it is biodegradable. So that's some great innovation, I think, they have done. And I think we need more money into R&D at this point. If you have to make the green energy actually green, we need to put in more money in, not just for wind, for any renewable energy, to be able to, recycle what we're, or instead of recycling is the later stage. If you can make something that is already sustainable, then you can cut out completely the last part where you are struggling to make it recyclable. So yeah.
There's definitely a space for that, the R&D and the development in that area. And for me, again, I think that's something we need to focus on. I think wind power plays a very big part, especially in the UK, as we know. The solar does. We do need the right weather regarding the wind at the right time. There's the whole accumulation of resources that we need to tap into. Rightly or wrongly, I think nuclear has got a little place in there that we need to still maintain it. I'm a bit biased when it comes to nuclear. I get some black marks from people when I mention my favoritism towards nuclear, but I think it's got its place. Obviously, we know about the waste issues and things, but it's robust, that side of it. Wind and solar, we need work to be done on there regarding making it more sustainable, is what you've just said. And I'm quite excited that you've said that, and regarding that's what's going to be part of one of your theses to write and to develop that, which is brilliant. I think we need to be thinking about it. I think the young generation needs to be bringing that into the future for us regarding that. So I think I've reached out to you last week and you said something about you was involved with the COP. You was doing something during the COP. What was you, tell us about that. Tell the audience what you was getting involved with.
I was delegate I was working as a delegate in Conference of Youth 16. So COI is basically like a pre-COP thing just for the youth. And it was eventful. It was so moving and so eventful. It was so nice because I have attended COI before when COP21 Paris Agreement was happening. Right. That was amazing too. There was like 5,000 people, over 5,000 people coming from different parts of the world. This year, of course, during the pandemic, they had to limit a lot of things. But I believe if there was no pandemic, I believe like 100,000 people at least would have been there. And it was so nice because we had people from Brazil, Chile, Estonia, Spain, all the way to Australia, Japan, China. So many people came in, and there were many indigenous community representatives as well. And they were in their traditional attire, and they had translators all the time with them. But they had very moving stories. They were like, we are out there trying to save the forests and the natural resources. We are trying to protect them, and the government is just trying to take it away because they want to keep misusing or exploiting all these natural resources. It was very moving that they came all the way. I think we had some indigenous people from Brazil as well. That was amazing to meet them. And they were very young children, like 16, 17-year-olds.
Wow.
Yeah, and they are like the founders. Some of them were like founders of some different organizations or something. They were representing the youth of a country. It was great to see 16-year-olds doing that, because I don't know at what point or how much far do they understand into life in general, but I'm pretty sure they have some working knowledge on how things work when it comes to climate activism. And I was very delighted to meet a lot of people who are actually, some of them are like genuinely delegates from different organizations like UNFCCC and UNEP and UNDP. And we talked about sustainable development goals, the 17 of them, and also how we can make a difference as youth and all those things. The closing ceremony was very interesting and exciting, eventful, I should say, because we had the COP26 president, Mr. Alok Sharma, and right. He was there. Yeah, he was there. He was giving these closing ceremony speech, and he was, there were a lot of tears, and everybody was very emotional because the youth, one of our youth representatives from Yungo, she was like, we have been working day and night, sleepless nights, without for the past couple of months to make this event a huge success. And we handed over the draft of what youth wanted from the COP president, and we handed over that draft report to them. And while doing that, there was a lot of emotions. It was very emotional. In fact, I think, yeah. I think Alok Sharma also cracked up a little bit, but yeah, it was because the entire point of the whole thing was we don't want to be we don't want this to be wasted. All these people are coming from so far and they have
Yeah.
so much to say, their voices to be heard. That is why they have come here, and I hope all this doesn't goes to waste, because it's at the end of the day, this is what our future is. You are making decisions, but we are the one who's going to suffer the consequences of what make decision you make today in the future. So that was very moving, and we had many people from Ukraine who were pretty angry, I should say, in the closing ceremony. They kind of call Alok Sharma a hypocrite, and yeah, that was quite eventful to watch. I think it went viral or something. Like everybody was at one point taking out their phones, and everything was going live because he was
Yeah.
giving the speech. But then in the middle of that whole thing, some people from, I think, Ukraine and France, I think they were very, very vocal about how they felt about him and about the whole COP26 thing. And there was a walkout session as well. So it was really eventful.
You was really getting amongst it then.
Yeah, I was like right in the middle of the whole thing happening. I was like, no, that's called drama in in COP26. And I think our the closing ceremony was nice. Everything went well, and it was a 4-day long event, conference, and we had a lot of sessions and workshops and mock COP26 preparation as well. Most of it was like some people were very cynical and about the whole thing. They felt everything is a waste of time and it's
Mm.
not required and all those things. But some people were genuinely like hopeful about these fears not coming
Embracing
true.
it.
And yeah, exactly. And I think since COP has started, I've attended a couple of events because I'm not in the blue zone exactly. So for listeners out there who don't know what is a blue zone, it's basically COP is divided into blue and green zones. So the blue zone is like the inner circle where all the huge delegates, people who actually have the authority to make differences, make change in regulations and policies are sitting. So you either need to be an observer from a particular organization, or you need to be a delegate, or you can be from press, journalist. So
Yeah.
then you're allowed to go inside the blue zone. But I've attended a couple of events in the green zones, and that has been eventful. It was I'm just surprised that, and of course, climate strike is entire Glasgow is just filled with climate strikes. Every day there is some or the other. People are just gathering at the George Square, and they're like, oh, so George Square is like the central place,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's so amazing that so many people are so vocal, and people have different reasons of why climate change is bad. Because some people think it's because of patriarchy, some people think it's because of, I don't know, gender equality or sexism. I don't know. Everybody had their own reasons. It was Some of them were not justified, is what I felt. It's just my personal opinion. People can have different opinions, but then I felt that there was a lot of chaos, and we can make changes without chaos. But then people sitting inside the blue zone will not have their bottoms on fire. If there is no chaos outside.
I like the
I
way you're
feel.
describing all of this. It's very black and white. Their bottoms on fire. Yeah, I like that. They need uh, in in the UK, I would say they need a rocket up their ass. Basically, that's what I would say. But that's a polite way of saying their bottoms on fire. I like that. Maybe I should cut that a bit about rockets, but who cares? Yeah. Was there
Yeah.
plenty of blah blah blah? Do you think?
Absolutely. We had Miss Greta here down here, and there was also a buzz that she wasn't invited for COP, but when she was here, yeah, no, she wasn't. She was
Right.
just here just to get some
Just to show her
climate
face.
strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to show her face. But
Brilliant.
a lot of things what she said riled up people. It's good in a good way, because it helps gain some traction inside the blue zone. But a lot of things what she said wasn't exactly you know fruitful. I felt like she said leadership is not there, it's right here. It's not about where the leadership is. I feel you just don't have the authority to make changes at this point. Somebody sitting in Alok Sharma, or someone like him sitting inside, actually has the authority to make a difference. So I think I think her purpose was to reach out to them and tingle them at the right places so that they do make a difference and make changes in policies. But yeah, there was a lot of chaos. It's still going on. I think we
Yeah.
have like one more days for COP to be ended. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm very proud that you're part of it and you're experiencing it. And when I look back at them days when I think we had a bit of paper in front of us. We had Canada written on one side and Glasgow the other side. That's what I was telling you to do, and writing all your positives and negatives. I'm so glad we selected, and I helped you select. You know, we didn't. You did. You selected Glasgow, and I'm glad that I helped you down that path. I'm not going to claim any credit for it, but I'm glad that
No, no,
you
no. I
you took that
genuinely,
path. It was your choice, and I'm really proud that
no.
you did that.
Yeah, no, you should get, of course, you should get credit for that because you need to have a right push in the right direction to,
Mm.
sometimes you're just standing in between two roads and you're not sure which one to take. And then I'm not being Robert Frost here, but then,
And you are.
yeah.
um, Shraddha, look, this has come to that time now where I really want to, I've always put you on the spot. That's the way I've helped you with your sort of guidance and direction, really, and with our mentoring. And I'm going to put you on the spot now, and I'm going to ask you a question. You know that question, what I'm going to ask, and that is there anything that you can give back as a student now, and a female student in our industry? Is there anything you can give back to the industry today from your own personal experience?
Is that a technical question? Because
You can answer it how you want to answer it.
um, I think water industry, especially energy industry, and I'll stress on the renewable energy industry part. We need more people, not just women. We need more people, men and women equally, to be. They need jobs. They need people to be skilled enough to go out there and do the job. It doesn't matter what gender you are. If there's a woman who can climb up that wind turbine and do the job, she should get the job. It should not. It's not whether she's. Yeah, it's possible that someday she's not feeling well, but come on, the other day she can actually do the job.
Mm.
So we need. There are many women out there I know personally who have reached out to me and are very dicey about whether they should go into the energy industry because there's a lot of field work. But I can say that I'm also in the energy industry now, and I'm the position I'll be choosing is mostly going to be it's going to be environmental economist. And I will not. It's not a field job. You can be and contribute to the energy industry without being on the field. And I think that also has a huge significance because I don't remember Alok Sharma going out there on the field and saying, hey, I'm here to make a difference. So I'm not aiming to be Alok Sharma. I mean, that's a huge ambition, but if it'll be great if I get there. But that's something I would like to give back to all the youth listening to you right now, to this podcast. If you feel you are dicey about whether energy sector is the right choice or not, you should definitely rethink about it. And if you're not choosing it because of your gender, because you feel that this may not be the right option for me because of my who am I, then I think that's the wrong decision because there is role for everybody. And as an individual level, I want everybody to just start living a sustainable lifestyle. I'm not asking you to give up meat and all that. That is all veganism. People out there are enough telling, to be vegan, but that's completely up to you. And if you can reduce meat consumption, you don't have to like completely give up. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth. That's like the basic things you teach your children. And I think if every individual starts following that, there will be less water crisis across the globe. Just turn off the heat. Wear an extra sock if you can. If you can, just reduce the heating, reduce the temperature on the heater, and little ways to save energy, little ways to save water. And like you said, the three things: gas, electric, and water. Those are actually the three main things which people will be fighting in the future. And given the prices are rising so much, there is, of course, the UK is actually seeing a rise in prices in gas and electric, and that's not great. So, and it's going to be a harsh winter, I feel. Like it's already cold in October. There's not even October heat, you know. So climate change is actually changing around everything. So I think that would be another thing that everybody just at an individual level start making small changes in what you do. So to live a sustainable lifestyle, it can make a huge difference when so many individuals, 7 billion people start doing things. It'll make a difference.
Yeah. I'm a great believer in doing those small steps. Really am, because it's a journey. But those small steps, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. I'm not going to stop preaching to everyone that I'm a vegetarian, but I'm a vegetarian. It is because of the future of the planet and things. That is one of the reasons. But it's also really for my health. It makes me feel better when I don't eat meat. So that's the reason for that. It's funny. I do turn my water off very quickly when I'm cleaning my teeth. That's one thing I've always done. My meter's never been metered, which really worries me. I think water should be metered. We should always be measuring things. You know, you can't manage what you don't measure. My last property, we didn't have measured water, and this property, my water's paid from my service bill, which I'm not affected by that. If you know what I mean, I would be affected if the price of it was high. I'd be going, oh, I need to manage that better, but I'm not. But I still manage my water in my head, if that makes sense. I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the sentence you said. We can't measure what we can what you said something. You said something that was so nice. Actually,
we cannot manage what we don't
what
measure.
we can. Oh my God, that should be the tagline of.
Unfortunately, that is a saying that is someone else's saying, but I've adopted that saying.
I think everybody should adopt that.
I have adopted it in a funny sort of way, but I'll be on impinging copyrights of various famous people in the world of such, but we can't, we can't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
just love it. I think everybody should adopt that. Who wrote that or who said that, but it's going to be a buzz now. I'm going to tell everybody, you cannot manage what you can't measure.
Go and write that down somewhere so you don't forget it. Well, Shraddha, it's been really great. I'm really pleased you're really blossoming in your life now. Since you've been in Glasgow, I haven't spoken to you for a couple of months or such, and I can see you're changing, and you're really getting. I see your post every now and then and think, wow, is that the girl that I used to mentor? It's amazing to see how you've grown, and I'm really proud of what you're doing with the Clean Energy Revolution Junior Group. You're doing a great job there, and keep it going. I know you've got the Nigerian princes to manage, but you are always the queen. Okay, they're the princes. They will never be the kings as such while you're in charge.
That's so sweet of you. But yeah, I enjoy working with them. They're like a great bunch of lively people with so much energy. Energy in a metaphorical and literal way, because they're just really amazing people.
Okay. Well, look, thank you for coming along. Keep up your great work. And please, you and your family, stay safe in these times.
Yep. Thank you so much, Paul.
That leaves me with just one thing to say. Be safe.